Hey everyone, so welcome back to the channel. So today we're actually going to do a overview of my M1 finance portfolio. It has been a while since I updated it. I moved my account over from Betterment at the end of January, beginning of February. It took a while. If you're interested in that process of how that works, I'll drop a link down in the description. You probably see it pop up here in the corner as well to go check out the process for transferring over. Anyway, let's jump into today's video. Today we're going to cover some things since it's been a while since I've updated this, did an update video on this portfolio. We're going to talk about what type of stocks I have in here. I have a good mix of dividend stocks with some growth stocks that I recently added over the last couple of months as well. We're going to talk about how much growth this account has had since I've had it and how it's been performing. We're also going to look at the different types of stocks I have, and we're going to talk about, we're going to go through how much I've deposited since I had it, and we're going to cover some dividends. So, enough from me rambling. Let's jump into it. But before we jump into the video, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you aren't subscribed. That way you get updated each time I drop a new video. So let's jump into it. So right off the bat, this unrealized gains here, this is not a number to go by. Reason why is because I moved over from, like I mentioned earlier, from Betterment over to M1 Finance, and it's counting what I moved over as unrealized gains. I don't know, it's weird. That's the only downside I have is all the history that I had over in Betterment. In this particular account, I don't have that history anymore because it came over here. So my numbers looked a little bit off. It's not as accurate as it should be just because there's 2.5 years of history that I have over in Betterment that didn't transfer over. When you transfer over, it just brings the stock over. So let's jump into it. Enough of me rambling. So let's go through and let's cover the different type of stocks here. Also, if you're interested in the full breakdown and you just want to see this whole breakdown of the stocks I have here, I'll drop a link, my M1 Finance link, in the description below as well. If you sign up for M1 Finance, you'll get some free cash, and I will as well. So it is a affiliate link. Just wanted to put that out there. So enough from me rambling. Let's jump into it. So the first stock I have in here is I have the Vanguard total stock in here, and this is the stock that I have the most shares in. This is a ETF stock. It has 42 shares in here. You can see the price, the average price of the stock, and you can see how much I have in here. So almost $7,000. So 6,900 is what I have here in this stock here. The next one I have here is the Vanguard stock here. Another ETF here, the Developed Markets ETF. I have 125 shares of this stock. You can see the average price, average cost basis of the stock, total value of the stock. Again, this gain is off. We'll go through at the later on in the video. We'll go through like the actual true gain of how this stock has actually performed. So we have that one there. Average price is 664. The next stock I have here is this stock here, the Vanguard Emerging Markets ETF. So I have 75 positions of this stock as well. So you can see it makes us about 12% of my portfolio, a little bit over $3,200 for this particular stock. The next one we have here is the Vanguard Index Fund. I have about 15.8, almost 16 shares of this stock. You see the total value here of 1,600. It's about 7% of my portfolio that it makes up. The next one we have here is the Vanguard Mid Cap Value, another index fund here. Again, we have 16 shares of this stock here. Total value here is about almost 1,600, 7% of my actual stock here. And then we get down here some more, and then we have some more bond ETFs down here. Majority of the stock in here is going to be I think I had it balanced around 90% stock, 10% bonds. It's changed a little bit since I've added some more growth stocks in here that aren't necessarily ETFs or index funds. We'll talk about those specific ones here in a second. So this allocates about 4% of my portfolio. The next one we have here, we have just another ETF here. This one, have about almost 7 shares of this one. $673, only about 3% of the portfolio this stock makes up. Then we have the Vanguard International Bond Index Fund here. This one here is 11.5 shares of this one. Have $665, about 3%. Something I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video. One of the reasons I moved over from Betterment to M1 Finance is I like the way the pies and stuff are structured with M1 Finance, and there's no fees that are charged. I was charged a small fee with Betterment, and plus M1 Finance, I can actually come in here and buy individual stocks and shares, and I don't have to buy full stocks. I can buy partial shares as well. So that was one of the reasons why I switched over as well. So, but like I said, the video is in the description below, the full description of why I switched over. Okay, cool. So here is one of the growth stocks that I bought here. I bought this Tesla stock here. Don't quite have a full stock here, but this is one of the ones that is actually right because I bought it since I moved over here. It's about 1,000%. This allocation right here isn't correct because I have this whole section here, this technology growth income. This isn't specifically Tesla. I have 2 more stocks in there as well, so that the total between the 3 make up 33%. So I have Amazon, I have Facebook as well in there for now. All right, so the next one here, I have the JP Morgan Emerging Bond ETF here. So I have 4 shares of this one. Again, 446, so about 2% of the portfolio that this one makes up. And then I have a more Vanguard small cap index funds here. This one is $451, about 2% that this makes up. And then that brings us to here, another bond here, very small percentage, about $221 makes up 1%. And then we close it out, getting to the end here. This is, I talked about earlier, Amazon is part of this technology group pie that I have here. This is the value, 33%. So the gain on this one is actually correct again, because I bought this one before the move over. So the number isn't wonky and thrown off, at least in this mode. And then we have the Vanguard short-term protected securities ETF. Have about 4.3 shares of this one. Makes up about 1%. So not a huge amount of the portfolio. And this one closes out that growth, the technology growth pie bucket that I have here. So I have a little bit over 3 shares of Facebook. This is the value of the stock here that I have in Facebook, about 34%. Again, so the total of all these 3 together make up about, I want to say about 10% of my total portfolio of the technology position. So I'll go through and I'll show you guys like that exact breakdown of that. All right, so that's just a quick overview of the stocks that I have here in the portfolio. Like I said, if you want a full breakdown of the stocks that I have in the portfolio, I'll drop that. That link will be in the description to my growth income pie that I have here. All right, so if we go over, the next thing I wanted to check out was the funding history here. So actually we want to go to activity. So let's just get rid of this, and then let's just go to deposits here. So we'll go through the deposits. So once the account put over, I was originally putting about $200 into each week into the account, and then once the stock market took a dive in March, I started to ramp it back up and put a little bit more. So right now I'm putting about $1,000 in here each month for this particular account. This particular account that I have, I'm putting 1,000. I do have other accounts. I do have another public account that I share over my Robinhood account that I share. That's just strictly dividend stocks as well. So if you want to go through and watch some past videos of that, you can do that as well. So this is just the history of what I've deposited. 1,000 here, 1,000 in May, 300 here, 374 here, another 1,000 in June, and then at the beginning of this month, I did 1,000. So I don't have this on auto deposit. I just kind of come in and manually do it, but I do have it set up to auto allocate based on my portfolio. So once the deposit goes in, it goes in and it allocates the funds to make sure that it stays within the parameters I have set up with my portfolio. I'll show you guys in a bit how that's set up. So that part is auto. You can do it manually too, but for this particular portfolio, I like to have an eye on it, like to go in and make adjustments to my portfolio, and then I just like for the deposits to go in and do their thing based off what I set up. So don't have to put a lot of work into this as far as buying the stocks and stuff. Just kind of want this kind of like my cash dollar averaging account where I just put a certain amount in, let it go do its thing. All right, so let's look at the dividend payouts that we've gotten since we've been over here. All right, so got back in April, didn't get any from, here we go. So let's jump in. So starting in March, this is the breakdown that we got. So 44 cents here, 39 cents here. I actually have a breakdown of what I've made for the actual year. So give me a second and I will actually pull that up. All right, so I'll pull that up in a second just to give you guys an over view of how well it's done. So as you can see here, back in March, not very much. So 44 cents here, 39 cents here, $1.34 here, $1.45. This one's a little bit bigger for $9.59. 126. This one again, this is a bigger one, 15.56, 388, 270, 11.36 here, 25.64. So not a bad month for dividend income for the month of March. Again, we got some smaller ones here in April, and then if we go here, we can see some more smaller ones. So you can see here, I'm getting some dividends here every single month. Just, passive income that's coming in just from me investing in stocks. You can see here about every 3 months that the dividend income starts to increase and start to go up. So it start to get more dividend amounts in here. So I'll show you guys a quick breakdown of how well it's performed in when it was in Betterment by the month and year, and then how it's performing so far 6 months into it for since I've been over here with M1 Finance. So let me pull up this real quick. So I think you guys can see here. Let me make this a little bit bigger here. All right, perfect. So as you guys can see here, so this right here, this 2019, this was all from when the account was in Betterment. So you can see here, it was making some progress here. January I made $80, and in February here, $2, 265. Again, another big month here in April. Small month here in May, and then in June it made about $85. Again, that's just me started investing. Back then I was doing just like $900 a month. into the account, but this is just all from dividends that was coming in. 25, 3, $50 came in September. October was another decent month with 76, and then 376 here. And then December was a big month because that's when all the companies pay out. They get the final earnings, and you get a bigger chunk of dividends. Typically, December is a higher month of these dividends. So we'll see. I don't know this year. We'll see how, with everything going on, we'll see how much the dividends are. But um, as you can see by the quarters here. So 85 here in Q1 in 2019, 150, 79, 213, and then for the year to date, 529. So we're 6 months into it already, and we're at 297. So we're already on pace here to do really well and exceed last year's goal of dividend income. So this is just, passive income that comes in. So it's just me investing, and, this is going to be a higher percentage of anything of just leaving it in a regular checking account or, a regular savings account. Even the interest rates are they're down to like 1% now. So not making very much on a monthly basis, especially with this amount that I have in here, the total. You're not going to make that. So, so far this year, so 73.89. This was partly some of it that was in Betterment, and then finally got moved over here in February. So 429 there, and then March 89.24. We were fully moved over to M1 Finance. April only $4. In May only $4. And then in June last month we made $121 so far. So not bad so far for the quarter. So if we're looking at Q1 compared to last year, we're at 167. Q2 again, that the market went down. So I was expecting it to be a dip in dividends. Some companies stopped paying out dividends, so 130.54. So not too much of a drop. And we'll see. We'll see for Q3 how we perform, and in Q4. These two are the ones that I'm really looking at to see how the actual portfolio is going to perform based off last year. So that's just a quick rundown of how it's done dividend wise. So now we're going to take a look at the actual portfolio, and I'll just show you guys how it's done over time since we've been here in M1 Finance. So you can see here, this is when everything was finally moved over here back in February. So we're at about 19,000 that came over. Took a small dip in February, and then you can just see here it just tanked when the market just went really down, got all the way down to $14,000. So again, this is long term for me. So the worst thing I could have done is panicked and then just sold all of my stock. So you can see here, still hasn't fully recovered for where it was at pre. Again, I still kept still investing monthly, once or a few times a month to continue building up the portfolio. As you can see, again, like it started to come right back up and build this way right back up here over time. So now we're trending back in the right direction. Again, I'm going to keep investing whether the market is up or down. I'm just going to keep buying. I was looking at it this time. I was just getting a bargain on the stocks because I knew eventually it's going to go back up. Just a matter if it's going to go down again. But I'm just going to continue investing. My recommendation would be to, not panic, not pull out when the market goes down. Because if I would have pulled out here, I would have immediately lost like $5,000 tops just by panic and moving. So again, this is long term for me. So I'm going to keep investing. I'll give you guys just a breakdown here of the slices that I have here. Again, I'll share this in the description below. So you can see this is about 29%. This one here is I have at about 19%. So you can see the actual here, and then you can see the target here. That's in bold. That's what I want it to be. So we have this one here. So this is the one that I was talking about, the technology with the Tesla Amazon and Facebook. About 10.5% here. This one's at this index fund is at 7. Again, another breakdown of 7. This is at 4. This is at 3 here. This total international total bond again is at 3 is the target. 2. So again, once it comes in and I make the deposit next month, it's going to rebalance this portfolio to get it as close as possible to the targets. Again, it's going to vary, from month to month as dividends come in, as you make deposits, but for the most part, it's going to stay within the range. So when I set this up, I had it at 10%, so obviously there wasn't none there. So this has been getting the bulk for the last few months to get this up to date and get the portfolio balanced to how I have it set and allocated. But that is, as you can see here, so far it's done pretty good. Dividends are coming in. Again, like I said, this is long-term investing for me. The portfolio is coming back. Over time, this is going to continue to grow, especially compared to what I've paid and what I've made from dividends, and just the growth from the stocks over time is going to continue to go. And just so you guys know, this number here, even though it's not up for the time of it being in M1 Finance, it is up overall, because when I was investing, even though about 19,000, this 19,000 came over from it, some of these, this was about 2 to 3 grand in dividend and growth that I made during my time with Betterment. So technically the portfolio is definitely still up and performing. It's just not showing here just because that history did not come over, if that makes sense. So thank you guys for watching it. Again, if you guys would do me a favor and just like the video, if you like this content, if there's anything else you want me to describe or go over in details, or if you guys don't care to see these videos, let me know as well. But if you find them helpful, you care to see them, let me know, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a good one.